You know that person, right? The one who's just completely buried in work, totally exhausted, but when you ask if they need a hand, they just give you that tight smile and say, "I'm fine, I've got it." Yeah, that person might be your friend or your coworker, or let's be honest, it might be you. So let's really get into the psychology of this.
I mean, let's just cut to the chase. Is this you? Are you the rock? The one who handles everything? The person who never, ever asks for help, even when you're completely underwater? If that last question hit a little too close to home, you probably felt a small tightening in your chest just now. You know the one. It's that specific feeling you get when something gets uncomfortably close to a deep truth. And that's okay. We're going to unpack exactly why that is.
See, this isn't just some quirky personality trait. It's a really deep, ingrained pattern. You could almost call it the "I'm fine" syndrome. And the very first step is just admitting, okay, yeah, this is a pattern. This is a thing I do. Now, it's so easy for people, and maybe even for you, to just write this off as pride or plain old stubbornness. And look, maybe there's a tiny bit of that in there sometimes. But for most people, this isn't about ego at all. It comes from a place that's much, much deeper. So let's get to the why. This intense self-reliance, this hyper-independence, it's actually an old survival strategy. It's a defense mechanism that your brain built for a very good reason a long time ago. The problem is, it may have never gotten a software update for your current life. I want you to think way back. At some point in your life, probably when you were very young, you reached out, you were vulnerable, you needed something. And what happened? You were ignored, maybe, or dismissed, or even made to feel like a burden. And your brain, which is this incredible pattern recognition machine, it just logged that experience away. The entry said, needing people is unsafe. It leads to pain. So you adapted. You learned. Fine, you thought, I'll just do it myself. And this is the most important part to understand. That strategy, it worked. It absolutely protected you. It kept you safe. It's what helped you become so competent and so reliable. The only catch is that the software never got updated. The original danger is long gone, but that old defensive program is still running in the background. You know, there's a fantastic psychological concept for this. The great attachment theorist, John Bowlby, called them internal working models. Think of them like these mental roadmaps or templates that we form as little kids. They basically tell us what we can expect from other people. And if your early template taught you that your needs are an inconvenience to others, well, that program just keeps running on a loop, silently, for decades. But here's where it gets really tricky. Over time, that old survival strategy stops being just a strategy. It hardens, it crystallizes, and it becomes a core part of your identity. And that, my friends, is the trap. Okay, get ready for this. A study by researchers Flynn and Lake found that people underestimate how willing others are to help them by almost 50%. That's huge. We're all walking around with this deeply flawed math in our heads, thinking our request is this massive burden, when the reality is, most people are actually happy to help. So if we know people are more willing to help than we think, why is it still so incredibly hard to ask? Well, it's because for you, it's not a simple request, is it? It's not a transaction. It feels like a direct threat to your entire identity. If you're the capable one, or the one who has it all together, then admitting you can't handle something feels like the whole house of cards is about to come crashing down. And you can really feel the difference, can't you? When you're the one giving help, it feels great. You're in control. You're strong. You're needed. But being on the receiving end, oof, suddenly you feel exposed, vulnerable, maybe even weak. And so you subconsciously avoid that feeling like the plague. And the fallout from this is that it creates this quiet imbalance in your relationships. You're always the one pouring out, but you never let anyone pour back in. It creates this invisible, totally lopsided ledger. And then you might start to feel resentful or unseen, while the other person is left wondering why there's this growing distance between you. Okay, so deep breaths. What do we do about all this? The good news, the really good news, is that this pattern isn't a life sentence. But the path forward isn't about just flipping a switch overnight. It's about building a bridge, slowly and carefully, from where you are now to where you want to be. So how does this change actually happen in the real world? It's not some huge, dramatic breakthrough moment. It's the opposite. It's a series of small, repeated acts. It's asking a coworker to look over an email. It's letting a friend pick up the groceries. And it's about learning to just sit with that uncomfortable feeling of vulnerability and realizing you survived it. It also means taking a moment to feel for that younger version of yourself who had to learn to be so tough. You have to thank that old strategy for keeping you safe before you can ask it to step aside. I really want you to let this one sink in. The incredible strength you built by doing everything on your own is real. It is powerful, and it should be honored. It got you this far. But that strength, it was always meant to be a bridge, to help you connect with others. It was never meant to be a fortress to keep them out.
And so I want to leave you with this final thought. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world by yourself. No one is. The people in your life who genuinely want to show up for you, who would be there in a heartbeat, they exist. I promise you they do. The only question is, are you willing to let them?